know we agreed to.
It's a lot of pressure. Even for the...
When trust starts to fade, even the closest families begin to look like strangers. In Heartland Season 19, Episode 5, Suspicious Minds, what begins as an ordinary day at the ranch soon turns into a storm of doubt, secrets, and unexpected emotions. Every glance feels heavier, every silence louder, and suddenly, the people who've always stood together start questioning one another. The morning light spreads softly over the Heartland Ranch. Horses graze quietly in the fields, and everything looks peaceful, but this calm doesn't last long. Amy is in the barn brushing Spartan, her mind far away. She's been trying to hold things together, but lately something feels off. There's tension in the air, not the kind you can see, but the kind you can feel. Lou walks into the kitchen, balancing her phone on her shoulder, talking about another big event in Hudson. Her words are quick, sharp, she's juggling more than she can handle. Jack watches her quietly, knowing she's hiding her stress behind a smile. Across the table, Tim is reading a newspaper, pretending not to care about the latest drama. But when Lou mentions an investor visit, his eyes flick up. Something in his look says he knows more than he's letting on. The family gathers for breakfast, and you can sense that everyone is trying too hard to act normal. Small talk replaces real conversation. Amy asks about the horses, Lou talks about city permits, and Jack comments on the weather, but no one brings up the real issue. Something happened last night, something unspoken. You can see it in the way Amy avoids Lou's eyes, and how Jack's hand pauses mid-sip with his coffee. Outside, a truck pulls into the driveway. It's Cooper. He steps out with that familiar mix of confidence and concern. Amy's expression softens for a moment, but then her guard returns. The last time they talked, things didn't end well. Cooper wants to discuss a training project that could change Heartland's future. But Amy isn't sure she can trust him anymore. As the camera moves through the ranch, every small moment builds the feeling that something isn't right. A gate left open, a missing piece of equipment, a whisper between workers, little things that don't make sense. Jack senses it first. His instincts, sharpened from years on the ranch, tell him trouble is brewing. But when he tries to warn the others, they brush it off. By midday, the bright sky starts to cloud over, casting shadows across the fields. The tone shifts subtly. This is no longer just a normal day. The suspicious minds theme begins to take shape. Trust, once the foundation of Heartland, starts to crack. And as everyone goes about their routine, you can't help but feel that the truth is hiding somewhere close, waiting to be uncovered. This first section sets the stage. Calm surroundings masking uneasy hearts. The episode begins gently, but under the quiet ranch life, the seeds of suspicion are already growing. The stage is perfectly set for secrets to surface and for loyalties to be tested like never before. The day begins like any other at Heartland, with sunlight spilling across the hills and the faint sound of horses in the distance. But even as the ranch looks alive and peaceful, there's something unsettled beneath the surface. Every smile feels slightly forced, and every word seems to carry an extra weight. It's the kind of morning where the air feels too still, as if it's holding its breath for what's coming next. Amy steps outside the barn, her boots crunching against the gravel. She pauses for a second, looking toward the fields, almost as if she's searching for calm. Spartan lets out a soft neigh, breaking her thoughts, and she whispers, "It's going to be okay, I think." Those last two words hang in the air, uncertain and fragile. Meanwhile, inside the house, Lou is busy with her laptop, buried under deadlines. She's trying to finalize a new business proposal for the ranch, but her focus keeps slipping. Every time her phone buzzes, her expression hardens, another reminder of problems waiting beyond the screen. She glances out the window and spots Amy walking toward the paddock, but instead of going to her, she just sighs and looks away. There's distance between the sisters again, and neither of them knows how to close it. Jack notices. He always does. Sitting at the porch with his coffee, he watches his family move around like pieces on a chessboard, connected but apart. He's seen this kind of silence before. It's the silence that comes right before someone makes a choice they can't take back. He takes a slow sip and mutters under his breath, This family's got more secrets than fences. Then there's Tim pacing near the truck, pretending to check the tires. He's restless. A few days ago, he got a call that's been keeping him up at night. The kind of call that brings old memories and unfinished business back to life. He's hiding it, of course, trying to act like the same old Tim, but his hands won't stay still, and his eyes keep drifting toward the road, as if he's expecting someone to show up. The first hint of conflict appears when Cooper returns to talk to Amy about his new project. He wants to start a partnership that could help rescue and train troubled horses, a noble idea, but one that needs full trust between them. Amy listens quietly, arms folded, weighing every word. Cooper senses her doubt and asks, "You still don't believe me, do you?" Amy doesn't answer. She just looks down, then back up, her eyes sharp but tired. "It's not about believing," she says softly. "It's about what I've seen." That one line changes the air completely. It tells us that something happened, something that made Amy question everything she thought she knew. Cooper tries to explain, but Jack interrupts, asking him to give Amy space. The conversation ends awkwardly, leaving a tension that clings to the scene like fog. As the episode moves forward, the camera lingers on small details: the horses reacting nervously, the wind picking up, Lou's phone lighting up with an unknown number. Every moment feels like a quiet warning that the piece of Heartland is about to break. By the end of this section, the story has planted its roots. We know that secrets are stirring, old wounds are reopening, and trust, the one thing Heartland has always been built on, is starting to crumble. The beauty of the ranch hasn't changed, but the people have. And as the sun starts to dip behind the hills, one thing becomes clear. The shadows are only just beginning to show. The warmth of the day slowly fades as clouds roll in over Heartland, dark and heavy like the doubts growing between everyone at the ranch. The once peaceful air now feels thick with unspoken words. It starts small: a look here, a whisper there, but it doesn't take long for suspicion to spread like wildfire. Amy notices things that don't add up. A saddle left out in the rain, a horse gate unlocked when she swore she closed it the night before. At first, she brushes it off as forgetfulness, but when it happens again, she starts to wonder if someone is trying to send a message. Her calm focus begins to waver. She's used to solving problems with patience and heart, but now, even she feels uneasy. In the house, Lou is still trying to balance her business calls with family matters, but something strange happens. She receives an anonymous text that simply says, "You should ask your sister what she's hiding." The message is short, but it hits her like a stone. Her mind starts racing, replaying every recent interaction with Amy. The soft tone, the half-truth answers, the nervous looks. Suddenly, every little thing feels suspicious. Lou doesn't confront Amy right away. Instead, she keeps watching, her eyes following Amy's every move, her thoughts spiraling deeper. This quiet suspicion grows until it starts changing the energy around the ranch. Even the workers begin to sense it. Their conversations turn quieter, their eyes darting between Amy and Lou, waiting for something to explode. Meanwhile, Tim's behavior adds another layer of confusion. He's been sneaking away from the ranch more often, and when Jack asks him about it, Tim just shrugs it off, saying he's handling something personal. But Jack knows Tim too well. He catches him once, standing near his truck, whispering angrily into his phone. "You told me it was done," Tim says, his voice low but sharp. "Don't make me regret trusting you." When Jack approaches, Tim ends the call too quickly. "Just business," he says, forcing a smile. But that smile doesn't reach his eyes. Now the whole ranch feels like it's on edge. Amy feels everyone's eyes on her. Lou feels like Amy's hiding something. Jack feels like everyone's keeping secrets. Even the horses are restless, reacting to the tension that hangs in the air like a storm waiting to break. The breaking point comes during an afternoon training session. Amy is working with a new rescue horse, a nervous mare with a history of being mistreated. The horse suddenly panics, throwing Amy off balance. Cooper rushes in to help, but before he can reach her, the horse bolts through the open gate, the same gate Amy swore she locked earlier. Dust rises as everyone scrambles to chase it down. When the chaos settles, Amy stands in the middle of the corral, breathing hard, eyes filled with anger and confusion. "That gate didn't open on its own," she says, her voice trembling. Cooper tries to calm her, but she pulls away. Someone wants me to fail, she adds, and everyone falls silent. For a moment, no one dares to speak. That's when the camera lingers on each face. Lou, Tim, Jack, and Cooper, all of them hiding something, all of them unsure who to trust anymore. The title Suspicious Minds finally lives up to its name. Every relationship begins to twist under the weight of doubt. What used to be a home now feels like a battlefield where truth and lies blur together. As thunder rumbles in the distance, the storm finally breaks, not in the sky, but inside the people who call Heartland home. What started as quiet tension now turns into raw emotion, spilling over like rain on dry ground. The wind howls across the fields. The horses stir uneasily in their stalls and in the house. Words that were never meant to be spoken finally find their way out. Amy sits alone in the barn, her hands trembling slightly as she brushes Spartan's mane. The horse seems to sense her pain, nudging her shoulder softly, grounding her in silence. For a moment, she wants to cry, but she doesn't. Instead, she stares out the open door, where lightning flashes across the distant hills. Everything she's built, her trust, her calm, her control, feels like it's slipping away. Then Lou enters, holding her phone tightly. "We need to talk," she says firmly. Amy turns, her expression guarded. Lou doesn't waste time. "I got a message," she continues. "Someone said you're hiding something from me, from all of us." Her voice shakes slightly, part anger, part fear. Amy blinks, confused then hurt. "You think I'd lie to you?" she asks quietly. The silence that follows is heavier than shouting. You can almost feel years of sisterhood trembling under the weight of one rumor. Lou doesn't answer right away. Her eyes search Amy's face for truth, but all she finds is exhaustion. "I just need to know what's going on," Lou finally says. Amy looks away, whispering, "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." Jack walks in just as Lou turns to leave. He can tell something's broken between them. He's seen this kind of distance before. "You two remember what this place was built on," he says, his voice calm but firm. "It wasn't money or luck. It was trust. And once that's gone, nothing else holds." His words echo in the quiet barn, settling like dust. Meanwhile, Tim faces his own reckoning. The phone calls he's been hiding catch up to him when Jack confronts him later that night. "You've been sneaking around, Tim," Jack says. "You think I don't notice?" Tim's jaw tightens. "I was trying to protect this family," he snaps back. Jack's eyes narrow. "Or yourself?" The argument explodes like thunder outside. Old wounds rip open, mistakes from years ago, regrets never spoken out loud. "You always think you're the hero," Jack says, his tone sharper than ever. "But sometimes you're just a storm that never leaves." For a moment, Tim has no words. He looks down, the fight leaving his shoulders. "Maybe you're right," he murmurs, walking away into the rain. Back inside, Amy and Lou try to find some middle ground. The truth finally comes out. Amy discovered that Cooper's new project might be connected to an organization that once hurt one of her horses. She didn't tell anyone because she wanted to be sure before she accused him. But her silence only made everyone suspicious. Lou softens as she listens. "You should have told me," she says gently. Amy nods, her voice barely a whisper. "I didn't want to believe it myself." The two sisters sit there, side by side, their anger replaced with quiet understanding. The bond may be cracked, but it isn't shattered. By the end of the night, the rain slows, the storm passes, and the ranch is quiet again. But the silence feels different this time, not peaceful, but heavy. Everyone's heart has been tested. Everyone's secrets have come close to the surface. And though the air is clear, the damage remains. The suspicious minds theme deepens here. It's no longer just about lies or rumors. It's about fear, pride, and the fragile trust that keeps people together. Every emotion feels sharper, every choice heavier. Because at Heartland, love isn't simple, it's a storm you learn to stand through. The storm has passed, but the ground it left behind is soaked with tension. The clouds drift slowly over Heartland, their shadows crawling across the fields like echoes of the night before. Everyone's pretending things are fine, but underneath the surface, the truth is pressing to be heard, and this time, no one can keep it buried. The turning point comes quietly, not with shouting or drama, but with a single unexpected visitor. Cooper returns to the ranch early that morning, rain still clinging to his jacket. His eyes are tired but steady. He's holding a file, the same one Amy had been trying to get her hands on. "You deserve to see this," he says, placing it gently on the table. The moment feels fragile, as if the entire story of the episode has been building to this exact breath. Amy opens the file. Inside are reports, signatures, and photos prove that the organization Cooper partnered with did have a questionable past. But that's not the whole truth. Cooper points to the most recent page. "I pulled out of the deal last week," he explains. "I found out what they did, and I didn't want any part of it. But I didn't tell you because..." He pauses, his voice cracking slightly. "Because I thought you'd never trust me again." Amy's expression softens, but not completely. The damage from their silence still lingers. "You should have told me," she says quietly. "You let me believe the worst." Her tone isn't angry, it's tired, almost sad. Cooper nods, understanding that forgiveness won't come easily. Lou steps into the room, overhearing the conversation. For once, she doesn't interrupt. She listens, realizing how much her own doubts fueled the chaos. "We've all been acting like enemies," she admits. "But maybe the real problem is that we stopped listening." It's a simple line, but it lands like truth often does, softly. But deeply outside, Jack and Tim work in silence, fixing the broken fence that the storm tore down. It's a quiet, wordless metaphor to stubborn men rebuilding something that nature and their tempers destroyed. After a long pause, Jack finally speaks. "You did what you thought was right," he says to Tim without looking up. "Maybe next time, just trust us enough to say something." Tim exhales, his pride giving way to a rare moment of honesty. "I'm not good at trusting people," he admits. Jack chuckles. "That's why we keep you around. Keeps life interesting." The two share a small laugh, not forgiveness, but a step toward it. As evening falls, Amy leads Spartan out to the paddock. The air is calm again. She watches the sunset reflect off the wet ground, the golden light washing away the day's heaviness. Cooper joins her, standing just close enough to show he's still there, still trying. She doesn't say anything, but when she finally looks at him, the silence feels warmer than any apology. In the background, Lou watches from the porch, her expression softening. She finally understands that suspicion doesn't protect you, it isolates you. She closes her laptop, sets down her phone, and just watches her family, the people she nearly lost to doubt. The camera pans across the ranch one last time, the rebuilt fence, the repaired gate, the calm horses. Everything looks the same, yet different. Heartland has weathered another storm, but the lesson lingers. Trust isn't given, it's earned, and once it's broken, it takes more than words to mend it. As the screen fades to black, Jack's voice echoes in a final narration. "Sometimes, the hardest battles aren't fought with fists or fire, but with forgiveness." And with that, the episode closes, a quiet, emotional resolution that reminds us that suspicion can divide even the closest hearts, but truth, when it finally breaks free, can bring them back together again. The night settles over Heartland like a soft blanket, wrapping the ranch in quiet after a day of chaos and emotion. The fences are mended, the horses are calm, and for the first time in what feels like forever, the air feels still, not with tension, but with relief. Yet even in that peace, there's something unfinished lingering in the silence. Every character carries a piece of what just happened, a small reminder that trust, once cracked, never returns to what it was before. Amy walks back to the barn, the lantern light flickering across her face. Spartan leans close, breathing gently against her hand, as if sensing that the storm in her heart has finally eased. She whispers, "We're okay now," but there's a hint of uncertainty in her voice. Deep down, she knows okay doesn't mean the same. It means surviving, moving forward, learning to trust again, and that's exactly what Heartland has always been about. Lou, sitting on the porch with a cup of coffee, stares out into the quiet darkness. Her phone buzzes again, another message, another problem from the outside world, but this time, she ignores it. She looks toward the barn instead, where Amy's silhouette moves gently in the warm light. A small smile crosses Lou's face. Maybe things can heal after all. Inside the house, Jack closes his journal. He's been writing down the day's events, something he rarely does unless something truly matters. He leans back in his chair, the soft creak of the wood filling the silence. This family's been through worse, he murmurs, almost to himself. But this one cut deep. He looks toward the window, where the moonlight hits the fields. Still, if there's one thing I know, it's that no matter how far we drift, we always find our way home. Meanwhile, out by the old truck, Tim stands alone, phone in hand. The screen lights up with a name, one that makes him pause. He doesn't answer, but his expression says everything. The call isn't over. Whatever secret he's been hiding, it's not finished with him yet. The wind picks up softly, carrying the sound of distant thunder, not another storm, but a warning that something's coming. The episode closes with a slow montage, Amy leading Spartan through the paddock, Lou locking the ranch gate, Jack turning off the lights in the barn, and Tim standing under the porch light, still staring at that phone. The music swells, soft piano and strings, gentle, hopeful, but with a haunting edge that promises the calm won't